As I mentioned, Jeremy Key and Gutjapin Gumana are from the Miwatch Employment and Participation. It's the organisation that manages the community development program. Jeremy has been an extraordinary CEO for nearly 3 years now, under the chairmanship of Brayo Munungor. And Gutjapin, you've seen that today, a Yolngu hero. Jeremy and Gutjapin are going to give you a short brief about where the work of that organisation is.
We won't jump up to the podium because there's two of us here and we can't fit up there. So I hope it's okay if we sit down. So obviously we're from Miwatch Employment and Participation, and Gutjapin and I got together this morning to have a little chat. Gutjapin's been with the company since the very, very beginning and has been working in this space even since before I was around. So there's a lot of history, a lot of knowledge in there. And we're chatting a little bit about now the stories from the past, also some stories from now, and also some stories from the future.
I'll start off with the past because I've started working with Jeremy, as he said, from the beginning when MEP started. First, from the past, when it started, it was a rocky. We had to go through rocky rocky seas, and then it was, as you know, every business starts with rocky seas. Yeah. And you want to explain more about that?
Yeah. Especially in the last 12 months, there's obviously been sort of government changes, and the MEP had to adjust in some really significant ways. We're actually really in a good position now. We're actually really happy with where we are and happy with things are going. But for the last 12 months, rocky ocean. Sometimes the analogy when we talk inside the organisation is that it's rocky seas that we're going. But at the moment, things have calmed down. The seas are flat enough for us to see further into the future and make more plans for the future.
Yeah, and I just want to add on to that we had to adjust with what the government has to tell us what to do. So, especially for us young people, we have to, go by their ways anyway.
One of the good things, though, when we look at adjusting to government changes, and something I want to talk about is also what's happening right now, the present. Sometimes when you go around in these sort of forums and go to different meetings, people say, oh, we should be doing this, or we should be doing that. We should be making work more accessible for Yolngu, or we should be making social enterprises and income generation more accessible. And one thing we'd like to say is, even though we hear in the meeting, we should be, if you look really closely, it's actually happening already. I'm happy to report, and even to those of us from my board of directors who are scattered throughout the audience and even up here as well, that in the past financial year, about $100,000 was money that made its way to Yolngu pockets, which was an opportunity that was not available before, an opportunity that was above the ceiling, but with MEP's labour hire arrangements, which are new, and MEP's income generating activities, which are also new, we've been able to make those opportunities available here and now. So even though we often hear in these meetings, we should be doing this, we should be doing that, one good thing for us to report for the present is that this is happening right now. You just got to look for it. We don't talk about it too loudly because we're worried about jinxing it, but it's something that's happening. So it's fantastic to let you know that. Also this morning we were talking a little bit about the future. Some stories, also a little bit stories about language.
Jeremy shared me something when we had breakfast this morning. He said that someone said something.
A sentence.
A sentence. And then that sentence says that you will get a job. Someone said that. And to us, the word will is like a promise. So, where is that promise?
It's a confusing one because in English we have this word will, and this word, even though it's a future tense in English, and Yolngu matanga number one going future tense as well. For Yolngu, and even for some English speakers, this sounds like a promise. Do this program and you'll get a job. Do this training and you'll get a job. And a lot of people sit around and think, well, where is this job? That word will, that English word will, sounds like a promise to me. Where's that job? And one of the things that we notice with MEP is we've got a caseload of over 800 people, but the number of vacancies that exist in this region is far less than that. We don't have 800 vacancies. We watch with bated breath as organisations such as Gumana generate their economy so they can develop those things. We wait with bated breath for this mine training centre, because that's exactly what we're looking for. We know that even though there are promises in the English language, you'll get a job, we know that the microeconomy here doesn't always support it. And so one thing that we look at when we're looking into the future is we've got to change some of our English sentences. Sometimes we've got to change what we're doing. Sometimes we've got to accept that the microeconomy out here won't support enough vacancies for everyone. We've got to look for a different way. A conversation we've had. The jobs need to come from somewhere. It's something that we often say, you'll get a job, but we need to look at the microeconomy and look at what it can sustain. It's got to come from somewhere. We can already see in the presentation, obviously, that Gumana has done, and other organisations and Indigenous organisations in the region, that there are some coming. What we need to do is be aware that there may not be 800 coming. We've got to look at that. I think the last thing, anything, Bulu,
Unless you want to add something.
one more thing, and this one is that we often say what change is coming, and we look to government to say what change is coming. And one thing I think from us that we say is that we've had these rocky seas for 12 months. We don't need more rocky seas. The last thing we want is for policymakers to think they've got a silver bullet to change everything. We're actually in a really happy position where we are at the moment. We have people working, we have people accessing labour hire arrangements, and we have economic initiatives that are bringing income in. And so what we would like to do is, if there are policymakers out there thinking, don't think that your silver bullet idea is going to fix everything, because at the moment we're in a good position. No big changes needed, but keep working with us and keep having those conversations. In May, just before the election, we had some really promising talks with the Minister's Office, DPMC, around the program. Very, very promising conversations. And now that the rocky seas of the election have settled down a bit, we look forward to resuming those conversations and taking them forward.
Thanks, guys. Appreciation.